What's up? Dr. William James here, reporting to you guys. You're gonna have to forgive me. I'm in my car. It's been a while since I uploaded a video. I've been very, very busy. I'm busy now. Busy driving. But I wanted to discuss this Love is Blind 3 foolery that's going on, and what I saw, having watched the season, especially watching the reunion. So there were a few couples. You had Colleen and Matt. You had Alexa and Brennan. You had Bartice and Nancy. You had Raven and SK, and you had Zanab and Cole. I'm gonna really focus on Zanab and Cole because there's a lot to unpack when you look at that relationship on the show. For those who aren't familiar with Love is Blind, it's a show where people, they get to know one another through a wall where it's supposed to be an emotional connection and not a physical connection, hence the title Love is Blind. You're supposed to be falling in love with the person and their character, and not, the physical connection. So you fall in love and then you get to see them, is what's taking place on the show. So yeah, like I was saying, I want to focus on Cole and Zanab, or Zaina, however you pronounce her name. She was the one who, her father died when her mother or her father died when she was 13, and then the other parent died when she was 18. She is mentally unstable, and it's very weird, and what's another word for it? Unsettling and unfortunate, disheartening, the things that we see on the reunion, because we live in the Me Too era where it's like, oh, believe women, believe all women, and there are people who are really abused, mentally abused, physically abused. There are women who are made to believe that they should lose weight and they have to watch every little thing that they eat. And I'm not talking about like in a healthy way with a partner just genuinely caring about you and, wanting you to be healthy, but like people who go overboard. So for her to try to say that that is what Cole was doing, and then we get a clear example of what she thought that was with the cutie scene, when she thought that was him belittling her and him attacking her for eating too much, and we see that that's not the case. That is ridiculous.
That's hilarious. I never once cared about what you ate. What are you talking about?
The cutie story that didn't make the cut was one day, it was like 2 p.m. We were still filming. I hadn't had a chance to eat. So I grabbed 2 cuties, like little tiny oranges that fit in the palm of your hand. And he looked at me and he goes, "Are you going to eat both of those?" And I said, "Well, yeah, that's a serving." And like the trying to control what I ate and me changing my...
You only had a banana today?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Oh, I could
I offered
definitely
you
tell you, but I probably
bowl.
shouldn't. I know you did, but we had that last night.
So it points to a lot of things. Perception is not reality. Perception is not reality. Okay, what is reality to a person is not reality in reality. So just because you perceive something some way and it's real to you, that doesn't mean it is true. That does not mean it's reality. That does not mean that is what is occurring. And we get a clear example of that. And that's when people are seeing things, people are misguided, people are mentally ill. And that is what is taking place with her, clearly, after we get a clear example. And it points to the herd mentality, because all of the women were ganging up on Cole, except for probably Colleen. She didn't really have much to say in the reunion. regarding that. But Alexa, Raven, and Nancy, they all joined right along with Zanab based off of what they heard her say, which shows the immaturity in all of them, because you only have one side of the story. You didn't have any proof to support what she was saying. And we clearly see that with the cutie story, with her, you know, eating the tangerines or whatever. And he didn't even say anything. So if you look at the clip, it's clear that she was, you know, exaggerating. There's clear hyperbole on her end. And he had no ill intent in, you know, speaking to her about the cuties. So we need to be very careful when we fall for narratives and we just listen to what people are saying. Because in this case, we have a clear example of it not being true. You see Raven interject and saying that Cole isn't going to take any accountability for what he did. For one, I don't like her doing that because she puts SK on the spot. If Cole were to respond to Raven in a way that is considered rude or hostile and saying like, oh, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about, something like that, SK would have to come to her defense as her man. But really, Raven should be minding her business because she doesn't know, clearly she doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know what took place in their relationship, and she's going based off of conjecture. She only knows one side of the story and doesn't know what's going on. So her immaturity and her ignorance would be putting her boyfriend in, you know, a situation just because she doesn't know when to shut up and mind her business. Do not do that, okay? In a relationship, do not put your man in that type of situation when you can mind your business, all right? Secondly, Zanab never took accountability for anything she did, all right? Even when she calls herself taking accountability, it's still placing all of the blame on Cole. She says, I could have shown more grace. Basically saying like, oh, he was extremely immature and he was dirty and I could have shown him more grace with, you know, not yelling at him to pick up his things 1 second after he takes it out of a suitcase. Or, you know, I could have been more patient with his immaturity. She's not really taking any accountability for her lying, for her gaslighting, for her purposely putting him in situations where it was like a lose-lose by asking him to rate her. She doesn't take any accountability for her insecurities. Like, she wanted Cole to rate her, like, rate me on a scale from 1 to 10. Then when he rates her honestly and gives her a 9, she's like, oh, well, is there anyone else here that you would give a 10 to? When she already knew that he felt Colleen was more attractive physically. So it's like so much to unpack. And then if you watch the reunion, the guy Brennan who's with Alexa, first of all, I knew that they were going to work because Brennan is like desperate, and he was really desperate, and he was like a yes man, and he wasn't like an alpha. And he even says on the reunion that she's an alpha, so they go together perfectly. But he didn't really have a solid backbone. He just wants to, you know, please her and go along with whatever she has to say. So I knew that they were going to work. And then on the show, he's like coming at Cole based off of how Alexa feels. And then when it gets time for the bachelor party, because Zanab was accusing him of trying to get Cole of trying to get a girl's number at the bachelor party, he's like, Brennan, you were there. What happened? Oh, I don't know. I was so twisted drunk, I don't remember. So, like, now when it's time to defend Cole, all of a sudden you were so drunk that you can't remember that they went home right after and there were no women there. But you had all of the smoke in the world for him prior to that. So it's like people like him, Brennan, who has no backbone and coming at her, SK not minding her business. Not SK, Raven not minding her business. And then Nancy, who was just all over the place. her little liberal self, first of all, she has her younger brothers putting all of this, you know, pressure on Bartice, who's 25 years old, and they try to make this show seem like, you know, it's a normal situation with having them meet the family. If I've only known you for 2 to 3 weeks and you're my fiance, I still only known you for 2 to 3 weeks before I'm meeting your family. So it's not the same thing as meeting someone's family if you've been dating for months or a year or two, and, you know, now you're engaged and you're getting to know all of the family. You know, you're meeting them in one shot and you barely know the person you're engaged to. You talk to them through a wall for what, 10 to 14 days? You don't know that person. If they really want to do the show Love is Blind, then you would talk to that person through the wall for months, or at least a month, 30 days. And then when you get engaged and you finally see the person, you wouldn't immediately put them around the other people they were dating. They should wait like 2 to 3 months before they get to meet the other people they were dating, because it's so many emotions running through you when you see the other people you were talking to, that it can create the situations like it did with Cole and Colleen. Cole was wrong for having that discussion with Colleen because he was already engaged and committed to Zanab. But that still doesn't warrant all of the other things that she did on the show. And then ultimately what she did at the altar, she says it wasn't planned, but it seemed very premeditated, what she had to say and the way that she was able to articulate it. And then the way that she walked out and the way that everyone clapped and all of her bridesmaids and everyone walked out behind her, it was very toxic, and I think it was planned, especially just for it to be untrue. She's like, oh, I hope he learns his lesson so that he doesn't do this to another woman. Well, what exactly did he do to you? You accused the show of editing things to make him look good. But then when we see one of the scenes that you say that they edited or didn't play, and you're like, oh, you're lucky that they didn't show that scene, the cutie scene, you look like a jackass. You look like an idiot still, Zanab. So, you know, those are just a few things that I wanted to touch on real quickly. I might do another video, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Is Zanab crazy? Is Cole wrong? Is he crazy? Is Zanab right? What do you think? I think it's pretty clear that Zanab needs help. She says that she has a therapist named Paul, and I don't know how long she's had this therapist, but I hope she's getting all of the help that she needs. She's dealing with some major insecurities, some major mental issues, and things like that are detrimental in society. All right, this is why I say go with the objective truth, go with the facts. Don't believe all men, don't believe all women, believe the truth. Believe what the facts lead you to believe and not your emotions, all right? Because you end up looking like an idiot. We see that with Raven, Nancy, and Alexa. I'm sure if they have any type of a brain, after seeing that Cuties clip, they should realize that, okay, Zanab, this girl is a little crazy. She's a little cuckoo, because that cutie scene was nothing. Cole had no ill intent. There was nothing there. He was actually looking out for her, trying to support her, asking her, like, why didn't you eat? And he says that he offered her food. And he was like, oh, are you trying to watch your figure so that you're ready for the wedding? Like you're ready to be, you know, this perfectly shaped bride, which would be her doing. He's not trying to starve her or suggesting that she starve herself like she indicated that was being done, like she implied. So y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. Dr. James, I'm out. Peace and love.